So Kirsty, really great to see you again. It was a real pleasure to have you on the course. So can you introduce yourself just for the benefit of the viewers, a little bit about yourself and your role at Inspire Youth Zone?
Yes, so I'm Kirsty. I'm the MakerZone Coordinator of Inspire Youth Zone in Chorley. We are a youth zone in the town centre that works with young people aged 7 to 18, up to 25 with additional needs. So in the youth zone, we have everything from a gym, football pitch, baking, climbing, up to obviously the arts and crafts and MakerZone. So the MakerZone and creative arts are sort of my team, and I sort of try and plan and set the curriculum and things like that, and team lead the two rooms. So our creative arts room is where we have like pottery wheels, the kiln, and anything messy basically. Whereas the MakerZone is obviously we've got the 3D printers, we have laser cutting. We try and do a bit more of like electronics and robotics. So we've only been open just over a year, so we're still finding our feet and trying to listen to what the young people of Chorley want to achieve in the MakerZone. And obviously my role is to try and give them the opportunity to experience some of the things that they're not going to do at home or at school in their own time as well.
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff.
That's my job.
And what does a typical day look like for you at the youth zone?
Oh, there is no typical day as a youth worker. Absolutely none. Today I've planned Halloween events. I've gone in a coordinators meeting, but tonight's is session. So our session's mainly running in evening. We have sort of like after school clubs that go on from about 4:30, where we have sort of specialised subjects. So on a Monday, for instance, we have a 3D print club. Tonight I've got a sculpture club. We have little bits like that. And then we go into the main session in an evening where we have between 80 to 120 young people every evening who engage in all the areas in the youth zone, whatever that might be. There really is no typical day in a youth zone. It's all very sort of all over the place.
Great stuff. And what drew you to working with young people in technology in the first place?
So I started in primary schools. I started working in primary schools many years ago. Sorry, someone just wasn't. Many years ago, I wanted to be a school counsellor. Before I had my boys, I did all my counselling qualifications, stuff like that. But then when I used to have a small business making memory bears, which are teddy bears made out of people's clothing. So I've always loved doing bits of arts and crafts, but when I had my two little boys, I was ready to get back into actual working with people. So I started working at a primary school near me. And I don't know, I came here one night to do, I think I was going to do baking one night a week, just, a bit of extra. 2 years later, I'm here full time and running the MakerZone. They do get the grips into you, but I do love it. I think ultimately, there's not many places you can work for 3 hours in an evening and play with 3D printers or play with clay. Do you know what I mean? You can't get better than that. There's guys downstairs in the sports hall, they play football for 3 hours. That's what they do. It's fantastic. But the relationships we build with our young people, my main sort of age group is either the inclusion group, which is the additional needs, or our seniors, who are the 11 to 18-year-olds. And I love the teenage. I think, what we do with the youth work with them is just so very rewarding, seeing where they've come from, literally from one year to the next. I think I used an analogy recently. I had a young person who the first time I met them, they threw a pen at me. 2 years later, they're like, I'm with them all the time, and they've come on so much. And I think it's those relationships that just make everything worthwhile. And I think the technology aspect of it is quite new for me. I have been more arts-based, anything messy, pottery, stuff like that. So this came at the perfect time for me, this course, because I think without it, I would have really struggled with a lot of the aspects of this job that I've recently taken on.
Well, it leads me well into the next question. The next question was, how important were the creative and digital skills that in the work you do with young people? How beneficial is it to them?
Oh, massively. We could have these 3D printers here, but nobody knew anything to do with them. So we need to have, at the very least, a sort of beginning skills to be able to show them how to get from A to B. What they do with that, and obviously we're not a specialist centre. We're never going to be able to teach them everything they need to know about additive manufacturing or about coding, anything like that. We're never going to be able to teach that. Our job is to introduce them and give them the experiences and the pathways to create something for themselves and to spark that interest that just kind of broadening their horizons and seeing what sorts of things they're interested in. If they don't try it, they're never going to know if they've got that specific skill. So it's us, and especially, I can't speak, especially obviously having a couple more people join me on the course. It's just going to increase the way we're able to interact with them and the opportunities we're going to be able to give them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how did you come across us, and what made you decide to take the training course in the first place for 3D 360?
I literally, my first week, got an email from my COO, Ryan, and he just said, "Oh, are you up for this?" And I was like, I read through it and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to lie, I did panic. I looked through the course list and I was like, okay. But yeah, so he was the driving force in making me do it. But I think he was very much like, yeah, you can do it, just go for it, let's give it a go. Yes, I was really nervous because it is not my forte, but I think I knew coming into this role that I would have to do something extra. I had to push myself out of my own comfort zone. I could very easily go and do a creative arts course and learn a bit more about clay and stuff like that, and I could very easily do that. But 3D printing, I could go on to Tinkercad and just about make a box, maybe something like that. Robotics, no. Electronics, no. But I think reading through the topics, I was like, this is a little bit of everything we need. Even if I learn a little bit from each topic, it's enough to sort of introduce our young people to something different. And I mean, even along the way, I've got so many different ideas. As some of the tutors were talking, I'm scribbling down ideas. Oh, we could get one of these, or oh, we could do this. And it was really, really good. It really was.
No, great stuff. So how did you find the course after your initial apprehension when you were actually on the course? How did you find it?
Don't get me wrong, you have to concentrate, you have to listen, you have to take it in. But very easily, very bite-sized chunks. It wasn't difficult to follow. The conversations along the way, especially with the tutors, not including you, of course, but the tutors are all great as well. And obviously just life experiences from other people as well, who are taking the course for different reasons, but have different experiences that they can bring to it. That was all beneficial as well, learning off your peers in a way. Obviously same thing that happened. I suppose some of them, they were asking me questions about, what do you do with this? And I was able to answer some of them. It's just learning from other people and that life experience for sure.
Good stuff. Excellent. And was there anything that really stood out or surprised you during the course? Any of the modules that perhaps you weren't expecting to get stuff out of, but you found it more interesting than you thought you would? Or
I was really interested by most of them, to be honest. Every single one I came away from thinking, like the electronics, for instance, I came away, I can't remember what machine it was, but there was a machine on there that I was thinking, oh, I wonder if I can get that on the wish list. But even such things as, like, we were watching the videos of what some other people had done, like the science experiments and stuff like that with the robotics, and I was trying to like put that into real terms of what we could do with that. So for me, as an absolute beginner, nothing was too far that I couldn't follow. It was very easy to follow, but it also was very, and I hate using the word considering I work for Inspire, but it was inspiring because it did leave me with little sort of, I don't know, nuggets of inspiration that I was just thinking I could bring this to session, or I wonder if we can ask for one of these machines. It was definitely worthwhile.
Great stuff. So have you gained any specific new skills or knowledge that you're looking to apply? Obviously, apart from the core 3D printing and CAD, is there anything else that's really sparked your interest?
I think the VR as well. So we have got two VR headsets that at the moment we're not using because we struggled with sort of how to work them on a session, because I can have 40 kids in this room. And I think one of the things they mentioned was, I think it was called Oculus, where they can stream it to, we've got an interactive whiteboard. So maybe that's something we could do. We could have one person streaming it to the whiteboard and have everyone join in some kind of team activity. But this is what I mean. Every little bite-sized chunk, I brought something away from. Like even the robotics, I think, again, I have a massive shopping list. There was another robot that I was thinking, I think it was one that followed a pen around, and I was just like, it's just something. Our young people are very sort of, they like physical stuff, so they like to be able to touch, they're able to see what they're doing. And I think anything that they can get involved in, something as simple, I know I've mentioned the CAD, but with Blender, being able to get a stylus and then modify it as opposed to using a computer, which it could just be a barrier for some young people, that actually having that stylus and doing it that way around would be better for them. And that was just on obviously the CAD course in person, but any little bits and things like that, it's definitely sort of sparked different bits of ideas for me.
So would you recommend 3D 360 training to others in similar roles?
Yeah, sorry, they're still wandering around.
It's all right, you're good.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I've obviously got one of the other staff members enrolled, hopefully. I just think anyone who's, obviously I can only speak from our point of view, but anyone who's in a youth-based role, it's great to sort of be able to give those beginning skills to young people that, again, we don't always have. It's difficult to get sort of STEM and engineers involved in youth work because obviously you are talking about two different sectors. But I think having the initial skills transferable to youth work and being able to show them what they can create, what pathways they can go down, even in terms of like what you guys do, training other people, it's having those pathways and future skills that is really beneficial.
Great stuff. And what would you say to other organisations in similar sort of organisations thinking of taking the training? Would you recommend us as a training company?
100%. And I think with the introduction of more of the maker zones that I know of throughout the area, obviously I know there's one coming up in Preston, Blackburn have a maker zone. I think it's also useful for other members of staff. Like I mentioned, the one who's coming on this one isn't a MakerZone staff at the moment. But hopefully with the introduction of this course, it's upskilling them and is obviously beneficial for CPD for any staff member to have that extra knowledge, because some of the stuff obviously that we've been doing is beneficial not just for in the MakerZone. You know, there was music implements, there was all sorts on that course that they can bring forward for it.
Excellent. And in one sentence, how would you summarize your experience with the 3D 360 training?
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Love it. That's great. It's a great response. And what's the one thing you're most excited about moving forward after completing the course? If you wanted to put one thing on it. My
wish list, my shopping list. Ryan is in the background now, and he hasn't seen it yet. But I think it was just the inspiration for activities and pathways that we can give to our young people that I didn't know about before. There's a lot of sort of different skills and things I didn't know about before doing the course.
Great stuff. No, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'm sorry about that.
To you. No, you're good. It's been an absolute pleasure.
As you were saying, it's a day in the life at Youth Zone. You never know.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a real pleasure meeting you. It was really great to host you on the course as well, and I hope you got a lot out of it. So, we're just if like I said, if there are any other people within the organisation, or even friends or family, teachers. We do lots of work with like charities as well, or people who are self-employed and fancy going on a crazy course to learn about 3D printing and CAD. Right, the applications.
I was promised the STEM truck as well. Apparently, that's going to come and see us at some point. So,
we can sort that out, I reckon. Absolutely, yeah. The STEM trucks. We've got a few little toys in the STEM truck which are good fun. We've got robot dogs playing football. We've got an electric go-kart in the back of it, and all sorts of cool stuff. So, absolutely. Let's try and get some dates in for that for sure. I'm just mindful. I'm away on holiday in a couple of weeks for a few weeks, so if we want to try and get some dates in for that. Have you got any sort of particular events coming up that might be useful for, perhaps?
Have a think. I can pop you an email and see what we've got. We've always got something going on, always.
Yeah, because it'd be great for us to be able to, if it's like a two-way street for us, so we can obviously offer something for you guys, and in return, if we can get people through the doors who might take interest in the course or find a benefit for it, then that would be really good.
Absolutely. I mean, I can definitely find others, and I think with obviously our close relationships with like mainly the Northwest Youth Zones, I think obviously we work very well with, obviously Preston are coming up, but we work very closely with Blackburn, with Bolton lads and girls. Wigan Youth Zone is a big one as well. They've got a really strong sort of creative arts team.
Awesome.
And obviously there's sort of the desire and the need for more of these maker zones in the youth zones it's going to keep on going.
Absolutely.
I think we were one of the, I don't know how long, just over a year and a half now, and obviously we're just now coming round, so we're starting to make small changes. Things like in here, we're looking at sustainability and stuff like that. So it's constantly ongoing, and sort of practical skills that we can give to the young people. So it's definitely something that I would definitely sort of push on to some of the other youth zones to try and do, because it just gives you enough. It's not sort of, you've got all your different skills and all your different knowledge of different areas, but pulling it all together in, it's not bite-sized, it is more in depth than that, but it's just enough. I don't know how to put it, but it's not overwhelming. It's especially, like I said, someone for me who's obviously used to more practical elements. It wasn't overwhelming. Josh is flying through it. The other one who's on the course now, he's got no problems. But no, it's definitely worthwhile.
Great stuff. No, thank you so much for taking the time out for your day and having a chat to me. And yeah, let's get that something in the diary to get the truck over to you guys, the van over.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and just personally, I think that, you know, when I was growing up, nothing like these things existed. I don't think they did anyway. And having been to a few of them now, and it's just mind blowing from our perspective to see the sort of facilities that the young kids can engage with these days. And it's such a crazy world in which we live, right? That having somewhere, you know, that's a safe space that offers them skills and education and experiences which perhaps they wouldn't have otherwise got is, you know, fair play to you. So I took my hat in your general direction.
That's what Mike was like, but I was just saying, you know, for us, obviously, I mean, you have to love it. We do love it, but you know, if we're engaging between 80 to 120 young people every day. And that's not even mentioning sort of like this. We have like a detached program, so we have a truck, but our truck is a scram van. So we go out and deliver free food to young people who are in sort of hard to reach areas or stuff like that. So it's honestly, I know I work here, so I have to say it, but I think, like you said, this wasn't here when I grew up in Chorley. This site was a pub when I was growing up. I think just the accessibility that Onside is our sort of umbrella corporation, if you like. We're all individually run, but we're all part of the Onside network. You know, what they've created in the different youth zones, and everyone is different and is tailored to the area that it's in. We have a lot of engagement during the week, whereas I know some of the other youth zones don't. So it's all very tailored to the area that you're in. And I think all the individual youth zones are really good at reading the community and doing what they need to do for the community. So it's it's definitely you can't not find it a rewarding job doing stuff like this. So
yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, absolutely. And it's been great having you on the course. So thank you so much, Kirsty.